What's up, everyone? It's your girl Brain Shanae, and today I'll be doing a book review for, I believe, one of the top books of 2021 that I have read, and that is Ace of Spades by Farida Abike Ayomide. So if you want to know what I thought of this book, please stay tuned. And I am back, and also if you're new to my channel, welcome. So like I said before, I want to do a book review about this amazing book called Ace of Spades. This is one of my anticipated books of the year and has now become one of the top books I have read this year. And I mean it. And let me just say, this book comes out on June the 1st. So you still have time to pre-order this book if you haven't done so. And I really suggest you do, because this book is amazing. Like this is a YA thriller. And pretty much this is about a girl, two black kids who attend a private academy called Navus. And this girl right here, her name is Chiamaka. And people call her Chi for short. And this is Devon. And they both attend the school, and they were specially selected to attend the school. And so pretty much as they're at the school, they know of each other, but they aren't friends. And so literally at the school, they have prefects, where they're pretty much, if they're a prefect of their class, they are pretty much close of being the valedictorian for their class. So you have the high prefect, which is Chiamaka, and then you have him who's the other prefect of their class, their senior class. So literally as they announce the prefects of that year, of their senior year, things started happening. Some anonymous text messages started to occur where it talks about either Chiamaka or it talks about Devon, but they're not just any text messages. They're pretty much secrets, dark secrets, things that people at that school do not know about. So where you have Devon, he considers himself a scholarship kid, which is the only reason why he's attending the school, because he got a scholarship. And so now people know about him, and he just does not like that at all. And also when it comes to Chiamaka, they find out like she just plays boys, and that she tries to, play people in order to get to the top and pretend that she's with somebody when she's not, in order to gain popularity. Which she feels that way. She says in order to get what she wants, she needs to be on the top. She needs to do this. So she does things throughout her high school career of pretty much being popular and being on the high pedestal. And so with Devon, he also, with these Aces text messages that anonymously just happen, no one knows who they're from, it just says Aces. They find out he's being outed and about his sexuality. He didn't want everybody to know, and he didn't want this message to get out in his neighborhood, because a lot of in his neighborhood they're homophobic. And so literally when you first open this book, it definitely gives you like the trigger warnings of the book itself, which let me see if I can get that to you in a minute, if I can find it, because it does have a lot of trigger warnings that I think everyone should be aware of when they're reading this. So it says, Ace of Spades is a work of fiction, but it deals with many real issues, including racism, homophobia, bullying, and suicidal ideations. For more content warnings, please go to FaridaAbike.com. So it does have all that going on in this book. So in Devon's neighborhood, they're homophobic, and so if he gets outed, and if his neighborhood finds out about his sexuality and that he likes boys and stuff like that, they plan to beat him up and do a lot of things to him that he does not want to happen. And he also doesn't want his mom to find out either, because he feels like she will be disappointed and that she just won't love him anymore. And then you have Chiamaka, who also has a secret of her own that she has murdered somebody because she was with her friend Jamie. Now Jamie is pretty much like her best friend at the school, who she really, really likes and wants to be in a relationship with. But things don't turn out the way she wants them to. They start saying things about her and lies about her, but also she tries to fit into the school where, yes, she's black, but she does things to her hair to make her look better in her own opinion. So she straightens her hair. She does not like her natural hair at all. Chiamaka is Nigerian, but she's also Italian. And with that alone, she deals with a lot of things at home. Her mother is from Nigeria and her dad is from Italy. and her parents met, I think, during school when they were studying abroad. And so literally on her dad's side, at first she used to visit Italy, and then all of a sudden those visits stopped because they felt like Chiamaka was too dark. So she's pretty much not welcomed with her dad's side in Italy. And then she barely knows her mom's side in Nigeria. So she tries to make this image where, okay, I'll just straighten my hair. So she straightens her hair all the time to have this image that her hair is this way, straight. And then she also tries to prevent things from happening as far as people touching her hair, asking her certain questions. So she tries to avoid that and just straighten her hair so no one just asks her nothing, and she doesn't have to get into that conversation with them. Because literally at her school, people are very ignorant of that sort of thing. And so with that being said, Chiamaka and Devon start teaming up together, and they try to figure out who this Aces person is. And they put two and two together. They were able to have certain clues about things. They found out a lot of dark things and within that school itself. And also the people that they thought were their friends were not ever their friends. They were just pretending that they were their friends, right? Which you have that in life. You have a lot of friends who act like they're your friend, but they're really not. They really like backstab you. So that's pretty much like the case of that, but it gets a little bit even more deeper. So literally they went into the school to figure out who Aces was through a computer, because they found out that Aces goes onto this computer a certain day out of the week. It's on computer 17. So one day they hide out in the library because that's where the computers are, and they spot who Aces is, but they have a mask on, and literally the mask sort of reminds me of the movie Scream in a way. So that's what it looks like. And so with that, Chiamaka finally sees the person named Aces. They think that's the person Aces, but it isn't. And so pretty much the whole point of this was, okay, we need to figure out what to do, because literally these people in the school are trying to ruin their reputations and make sure they don't graduate on time, and they end up pretty much dropping out and stuff like that because they can't get into their classes, and a lot of teachers aren't giving them any type of support for anything that's happening, and they're believing all these lies that are being said in these text messages from Aces. And so literally Chiamaka finds out, okay, let's go to the news station and tell them what's going on, because they have evidence of what's happening, of what the school is. And apparently the school is an institution where literally it's an institution where from generations of years ago, like I believe it started in 1965, where they had selected 2 Black people to attend the school. And literally out of nowhere, when they become seniors, the black students, when they become seniors, they disappear. No one hears what happened to them or what have you. And literally when they went to this computer 17, it literally says the N-word. It says the N-word. It says nigger in there, and pretty much they realize that Nevos Academy is a systemic institution where they are racist. It's a racist institution, and they pretty much, when the Black kids that they select go to become seniors, they make ways for them to drop out, don't have any degree, don't have anything, in order for them to move on with their life and go to college. And Chiamaka and Devon had high expectations of going to college. Chiamaka wanted to go to Yale, and Devon wanted to go to Juilliard because he loves music. And so they were trying to ruin their futures. And so they went to the newscasters or whatever, and told them what's happening. And the newscasters said they need evidence. So they're like, okay, let's go to this ball that they have every single year. And so they went like undercover. So they get all dressed up and everything for this ball. And then out of nowhere, everyone's wearing the mask, the Aces mask. And even the newscasters are wearing the Aces mask because they're also racist. And Chiamaka didn't see that coming, and Devon had a feeling. And then out of nowhere, you see the headmaster of this school, of the high school, grab Chiamaka and have a gun pointed to her head. And literally, like right then and there, just a lot of things clicked. Like literally, this is a realistic thriller. Like, yes, it's a YA young adult thriller book, but this is some real deep stuff that happens in real life. There's a lot of systemic institutions, racist institutions that are created for this type of thing, and they're still happening. Even on the news, there are people they're in the same system that make sure Black people do not get ahead. They don't get a chance to have a future. And like, I feel like this is a great book to read, but for you, if you don't know anything about systemic racism, you don't know about the institutions that are created against Black people, and what they do in order to make Black people feel like they are lesser than a human. And also within this Nauvoo Academy, they realize they also study eugenics. And I don't even want to get into that. That's a whole nother thing where it's just racism, and they try to study the bodies of Black people and try to figure out how come they're like this, they're like that, how come, just how fast they run, why are they like this. They try to study us, and that is still happening to this very day. But of course, this institution is bigger than us, and they find ways to pretty much keep all that information hidden from the people, from people that are woke, pretty much. So this book really touches on a lot of things in this, on systematic racism. And so at the very end, there is a happy ending at the end. They still were able to graduate, and Devon was still able to become a music teacher, and Chiamaka became a doctor. So they still had futures. They did not let this institution stop them for what they wanted. Devon wanted to have a better life than where he lived in this neighborhood where it was bad for him and his mom was always stressing about money and stuff. He wanted to provide for his family. And through all of that, when they were being accused of this and just trying to be, and how the kids were treating them wrong, calling them, calling Chiamaka a whore and everything like that, there was a lot of things happening at home where they had to deal with this. And even Devon, with all this happening and how his mom was really paying tuition for him to go to this amazing school, right, that gave him a better opportunity, his mom was paying for this institution. And his mom had no clue about it. And then also with that alone, his father wasn't in his life, and he eventually finds out why and everything, because his dad was in prison, and after he only talked to his dad once in prison, and that was it. And he finally realizes why he only talked to him that one time, has never spoken to him, hasn't been able to visit him, what have you. So this book is really good. And I really recommend people read it or pre-order it, because I feel like if you don't know anything about systemic racism, or you don't know about the institutions that are really that are built to be against Black people and to bring down Black people, and to bring down Black joy, I feel like this is a book that you should read. There are a lot of other books that are even deeper than this, but if you want something a little bit to ease you into this issue that we're still having to this day, I think this is a good book for you to pick up. Literally, this book had me it had me sad, and then it had me so pissed off, because this really happens on a regular basis. But what I do love is that Chiamaka and Devon, yet even though they were able to get their futures and their careers, they still were able to help other kids, help them, and make sure that they don't end up in the same trap, in the same institution that they were in high school. Literally, Chiamaka tells somebody, I'll just read it to you, because I think it's very interesting that I read this one part to you. So it says, the first next time. So this is 16 years later, after everything that happened in Nauvoo and everything like that. And after the institution, the high school, get closed down forever. It says, a letter from the underground society. It says, Dear Mrs. Johnson, it has come to our attention that you are planning on enrolling your son, Rice Johnson, at Pollard's private academy. We are writing to warn and advise you against sending Rice to the school, as Pollard's private academy systematically targets Black students practicing a form of social eugenics. Attached to this letter is evidence dating back to 1965, when the first case of social eugenics took place at the now closed institution, Nauvoo's private academy, tragically costing the first Black victim It says, tragically costing the first Black victim her life, as detailed in the documents. Since 1965, the school caused undue trauma to all enrolled Black students, including, but not limited to, emotional and physical harassment, severe mental trauma, as well as attempts to sabotage academic records, college applications, and employment possibilities. To guarantee your son's protection from having a similar experience at Pollard's, we would love to invite him to join the Ruby Bridges Academy. This is a school set by the Underground Society, a society founded to tackle the systemic inequality in schools across the country. Nauvoo was not the only institution practicing social eugenics, and we are still working to find those connected to Nauvoo while also providing an alternative solution for students we identify as targets of any of these institutions. Our aim is to reform all the systems, starting with education. We hope you consider our offer. Yours sincerely, Dr. Chiamaka Adebayo and Professor Devon Richards, co-founders of the Underground Society. So there you have it. Literally, after everything that Chiamaka and Devon went through, they wanted to make sure that this doesn't happen again. They wanted to attack these systems that are pretty much bringing down Black people, Black students, and literally the system is still like this to this day, which, sorry, I'm really passionate about this because it really gets on my nerves, especially when it comes to education. They really like here in Columbus, for instance. I'm in Columbus, Ohio, and I live in the inner city. And so right now my daughter goes to the inner city schools, which there's no funding, no nothing. And literally, you know that it's inner city because it's pretty much predominantly Black kids that go to these schools. And so for our daughter, if we want her to go to a better school where she could get a better education, they are mostly predominantly white. And it's going to be outside of Columbus, where you have let me see, you have New Albany, that's predominantly white. You have Hilliard High School, outskirts like Westerville High School, all those cities outside of Columbus, they are predominantly white. And literally, just for Chiamaka and Devon, they were the only 2 Black kids at this school. So you already know, like, you just know, like, the system finds ways to make sure that Black people, they don't get the same opportunities as others, which is why when we have these discussions, we talk about how literally when we talk about our Black hair and what the world wants our hair to be like, and how they feel like our hair is nappy and stuff like that, and how we have to work 10 times harder in order to get what we want and what we need in this world. Like, I just wanted to bring that up because it's still an issue, and I know that we've been having talks about that through BookTube, but I really wanted to let you know, like, this book brings up these issues that we're still having to this day, and I feel like it gives you a good example of how we can attack these systems, but we need to restructure these systems. But in order to restructure these systems, we need money. But these systems make sure that Black folks don't get money because they don't want Black people to get ahead. Because they really feel like once Black people have these opportunities and once they get up to the bigger tier, we're a threat. They already think we're threats, and they're trying to make sure that we don't have a future. They already make sure that Black boys and Black girls, they don't have the same opportunities as anybody else. Sorry, I'm really passionate about this, and I'm not going to get upset about it, but it's the truth. And I think like this book definitely gives you that information and gives you some aspects of what it is like, you know, like what it is like. And literally how these 2 kids, you have Chiamaka and Devon, go through this, where they're dealing with harassment, teachers being assholes. It's just, like I said, that's why I feel like this book is definitely one of the top books I have read so far this year, because it's heartbreaking that it's happening, but it's a real thing. And I think acknowledging that's a real thing, it's a start. And I feel like when people acknowledge certain things like the system is against Black folks, I really feel like y'all are starting to wake up and realize and opening your eyes what is happening in today's society, in today's world. But I'm not gonna rant anymore about it, because like I said, I really loved this book so much because it was that good. Of course, I would give it more than 5 stars, but if I'm rating it from a 5-star type review, it's a 5-star read for sure. 5 stars for me. Give it thousands, billions of stars. Like, love this book. Like I said, one of the top books, one of my favorite, very, very, very favorite book that I've read so far this year. So if you haven't pre-ordered this book, I suggest you do so, because this book is that good. And you still have time to pre-order it, because this book comes out June the 1st. So you still have a little bit of time left to pre-order it, guys. Still a little bit of time. I'm sorry that I got a little bit passionate about this book, but I really just wanted to bring these things up because it's real. And I think, like, especially when it talks about the system make sure is that it brings down Black people and people of color. I think that this gives you good, like, it gives you examples of that and everything. So it gives you examples of everything. It talks especially about sexuality and stuff. It brings all this up, and I just love this book. It brings up a lot of topics that that have been talked about, or I feel like haven't been talked about enough. So that's why I really do love this book, and I do recommend it. I'm not gonna rant anymore about this book. I want you to read it for yourself, and you tell me what you think about it in the comments after you read it. But anyways, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Also hit that subscribe button and that bell to be notified when I upload more videos in the future. But thank you so much for watching this, you guys. Once again, please stay healthy and stay safe, and please go ahead and pre-order this book if you haven't done so. See ya.